Hi, this is Bahar Shahpar for WeDharma, and as I've taken a little bit of a break from posting for the last couple of weeks, I thought that today would be a perfect opportunity to talk about exactly that, taking a break um, and finding solitude. I think that we all know how vital it is sometimes to step back, to find a place of peace and quiet, away from the constant bombardment of sights and sounds and experiences that we have on a day to day basis. And I think that it's very natural to get overwhelmed, but it's really also quite important to distinguish between, on the one hand, cocooning, which is creating barriers and walls and layers of protection, and in essence, separating from what's going on around you. And on the other hand, uh, truly diving within and creating what is the opposite of separation, but instead immersion. And this is where the answers are. And this is where true healing is, and this is where peace is. Will be the first to say that cocooning can be a very useful tool and a very healthy thing to do sometimes when you're at your wit's end, when you feel like all of your energy is just drained out into the world and you're limp, and perhaps cocooning is the act of pulling up the warm blanket around you and protecting yourself until you can rejuvenate, reinvigorate, and regroup. But it can be a very dangerous behavior, because in that act of building the wall between whatever it is, us and the person or the people or the object or the environment or the situation or the challenge that we're overwhelmed by or overstimulated by, um, in that act of blocking it out and creating separation, we're not dealing with it, and that's never going to be the place that the answer's found. So I think we rely on that too much. I know I live in a big city, and so we all here are very protective of our personal space, and that can be really interchangeable with your mental space. And people are very quick to be protective of what you're putting in there. And in my experience, I found that when I am overwhelmed or something is too intense for me, it's really just because it's bringing up what's going on inside of me. And so if I'm uncomfortable with something, or I feel like something is too intense, that's generally because it's reflecting on the intensity or my discomfort with something that I'm going through, and it's just getting reflected outwards onto someone or something else. And so in that moment of being, whether it's lost or confused or drained or just, I don't know, apathetic sometimes, where you just want to pull back, the place to go to is solitude. And solitude gets a bad rap. We treat it like it's this piece of dark chocolate that you enjoy luxuriously, intermittently, and then go back to our day-to-day lives, when in fact solitude is our condition. It is the human condition. We are encased within these bodies. We are alone. But one of my favorite quotes is by Lord Byron, and he said, "In solitude, where we are never alone." And that's the ultimate truth, because when you are in, yourself, truly resting in yourself, you're more than stable. You know your time and place in all of this craziness around you, and you know where you are, so you're completely comfortable and you're completely connected to the universe and the ebb and flow, and you're riding the wave. And that's the most peaceful place, and that's really what we're all striving for. So I think that it's just really important to remember that solitude isn't just about being by yourself. Solitude doesn't require that you don't engage. Solitude doesn't mean that you have to fight off all of these influences and these energies and the experiences that are coming at you, particularly from other people with their opinions and their feelings and their thoughts. It can be really tough, and sometimes it's necessary to physically step back. But overall, what it's really about is getting settled with yourself and finding stillness with what your experience is, and stop worrying about what's going on out here, and stop worrying about what other people's experiences are, and stop fighting things that don't need to be fought. Stop swimming upstream, against the current. That what other people are going through doesn't reflect on it create what's going on inside of you. You create your world by what you have within and what you're projecting outwards. So if you can go within and you can immerse instead of separating from what's going on in your experience, that's when you'll actually understand it, and that's when you'll start to unravel whatever knots need to get unraveled. So that's just where I am, and my intention today is to be better at protecting my solitude. So thanks for hanging, and I hope you all are having wonderful days.